But here's our kickoff webinar for the contest. And today we want to just provide a live demo of the template we prepared, maybe share more what is behind, what are the requirements, and who can participate, and what will all this about. And here I give the word to our product manager of developer experience, Bob Kuszewski, and Bob will introduce to you our new contest about InterSystems Iris native API. Here we go. Bob, please.
All right. Thanks for that kind introduction, Evgeny. As Evgeny said, I'm product manager here at InterSystems, and I'm interested in the native API and the use of the native API. It's something that's a little bit different from what a lot of application developers might be accustomed to. Using SQL traditionally and those sorts of things. There are a lot of applications that are hard to do with SQL that can be done through the native API. So we were looking for, get people to think about the native API and use the native API in interesting ways. And we wanted to see what great ideas that you have. For those of you who are not familiar with the native API, let me see if I can share. Great. Switch over. We do have very good documentation for it on the internet. Those links, I think, are included in all of the instructions for the contest. What we're looking for in the contest is any application that you want that uses from the client side, from .NET, from Java, from Node, or from Python, uses our native API instead of SQL to access Iris as the backend. Any kind of application that you want, the template that we put up in GitHub just has command line programs, very simple command line programs that just show like how to connect and how to get one or two items out of, write a global and read a global. But the application that you build, that you submit, could be any kind of application you want, as long as you have clear instructions for how I could run it, so that, well, I can actually judge, as well as all the other expert judges. The native API, as you can see in the instructions, in the documentation here, this is the .NET instructions, but they're available in all of our languages. They talk about how to use globals and how to use multidimensional globals from your client-side application. How to instantiate object script classes on the server and how to use them. So you could call an object script function from your client-side code, for example. How to manage transactions from the client-side application as well. So we've got good instructions here that kind of go through all the details. It's fairly straightforward once you've used it. I don't know if I know some of you have used it, and some of you this is new to you. So all welcome. Thank you. But all the instructions are here. I think they're all pretty straightforward. We do have some additional features coming in the future for the native API, especially support for $list. I know a number of you are keen for that, but it is not quite out yet. It will be by the end of the year. I also put together the GitHub template. So the GitHub template, all I've done here is I brought it up in Visual Studio Code. I copied it onto my local machine. You'll see in here, in the source directory examples in .NET, Java, Node, and Python. And each of them is just a very, very simple application. called program.cs, and a run.sh, which tells you how to build and run it. Also a README that kind of does essentially the same thing. The simple program, all you're doing is you're connecting, you're setting some globals, you're reading some globals. So anyway, just there's some baseline code that you could get you started a little bit faster, along with the Docker file and a Docker compose that will put all of the build environments onto the Docker container, so that it's just one less step that you have to worry about. And that's it. That was kind of my introduction. I want you to have fun with this. This will be, a really interesting, I think, programming contest. Any questions?
Colleagues, if you have questions, so please provide it into chat, or you can say it in loud. So Irina will give you a voice. Okay. And while I have a question, Bob, may I? Can I? Do I need a Docker to use the native API?
You do not. Can be run with any client application. The Docker component of this just makes life easier for us as experts to install and run your application, and make sure we do so kind of properly by, well, essentially the Docker file writing down exactly how to set that up for us. So.
Right. Thank you. Indeed, with Docker, you can just clone and check out the repository and run it, and you have it working. You have your template, your solution working. And another question is, so I can deal with the globals only, right? Or maybe I can call class methods with native API.
That's right.
So it's
that's right. You could do both of those.
And what about if I wanna, if I can, or is it possible to have SQL calls through native API? Just wonder.
So you would normally use our other APIs through SQL calls, right? So you can, but very indirectly. What you would do is you would write an object script method that uses the SQL command inside of it, and then from the native API call that object script function. Kind of roundabout and weird.
Okay.
And the normal way that people would use the native API is for dealing with problems that are hard to do in SQL. They're just not performant very well. They're really hard to maintain, those kinds of applications.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. And what I want to say here that if you need to run SQL for your application, for your native API application, do it with another interfaces of Iris. Please, you're very welcome. But what we want in this contest, that you will use at least native API for your solution, and we will judge how well you do this in your solution. Okay, so but you are very welcome to use any other features and technologies of Iris. Okay, so we have also we have Edward here who wants to share an idea for the native APIs application. So I'll Irina, could you please unmute Edward? Yes, Edward, please go ahead.
Hello, do you hear me?
We do.
Okay, so recently in my community project Python Gateway, actually, can I share the screen too while we're...
You can try this. So it's a share content button on.
Yeah. So do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a project for integrating Jupyter Notebook and InterSystems Iris, and it's available on Open Exchange. You can check it out. The whole integration is, I think, how much? It's 100 and, well, it's less than 500 lines of code, and it allows you to interact with business process in InterSystems interoperability using Jupyter. So we can start it. And the idea I have is this project allows you to edit Python code inside VPL business process. But the idea I had is that is to execute object script in Jupyter Notebook. So instead of this business process, you write the same activities but with object script, and when you press the execute button, it gets executed on InterSystems Iris side, and it can be easily done. I wrote on community how it can be achieved. It's exactly the use case for Python native, and it seems like a doable project, and Jupyter is geared toward custom extensions like this. So there are many languages actually are already supported, not only Python, but many others. So you can add one more. It would be a great project, I think, and you have a related but independent project to see how it can be implemented.
Thanks, Eduard. I think this is a great idea. And could you please share in the chat the link to the full explanation of your suggestion of the idea? And I think
Sure. Yeah.
great case. And we have a question
from Dmitry Maslenikov. Yes, we unmute him so he can ask his question.
Hi. I have a few questions. First of all, about .NET. It's now we have two separate .NETs. Just original and now .NET Core. Is it supported as well, or just .NET original?
So we have drivers available for .NET Native for both the full .NET framework as well as for .NET Core 2.1. The specific versions, they're the same versions that are in the regular package, and you can find them in the package, which we're working on other ways to distribute our clients, but that's coming down the line later in the year. As you know, with .NET 5 coming out this fall, it merges the framework and .NET Core back together. So .NET Core was invented just so it could run on Linux. In Docker, it's running in Linux, so my example is using .NET Core, but again, your application, you could do whatever you'd like, just that's the example I had built.
Let's go. Okay, the next question is about Docker possibilities. I know that any native API now needs to be work on the same environment with Iris, just together because it uses shared memory. Yep.
No.
Oh.
I don't think it has to run on the same machine. I think we could run it on a remote machine. I could double check that.
Yeah, I saw somewhere, but okay, Docker supports sharing memory between containers,
Yep.
So it would be good to run Python native, like in container next to Iris, not in the same container, or Node.js application. So in this case, it will work as expected for Docker environments. Like this is just only database. This is my application. It's a separate containers, and they work between just inside of Docker, but it's separate and with native API. Does it possible now, or maybe we can expect it soon?
So I know for JDBC, we've done exactly this for our shared memory connection. So the JDBC driver, you could have it be remote, or you could have it be local. And if it's local, you can turn on shared memory, and it's a little bit faster. And that you can turn on shared memory with two different containers running inside of Docker and have them share the shared memory. There's some tricky setup there that we have not fully or properly documented, but it can be done, and I've seen it done. So if you do that, be awesome, be really cool. I don't have a template that you could follow on that yet, but that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dmitry. And we have some more questions from the list. We have a question from Enrique Diaz. Is it possible to call all the object script functions and class methods using native API? And I think, yeah, it's a question to you, Bob, but even I can answer. No. But it's for you.
The answer is yes. That is included in the sample source code that I put up on the GitHub repo is a way to do that. What did I call? Oh, I called date from library utility.
Nice.
But you could call anything. Yeah.
Enrique, if you have any questions more, we can put you in louds if you want. Just let me know. Also, we have a question from Yuri about GDBC driver with the link. So, Bob, maybe you can see it in the chat.
Yeah.
Maybe we can
I do see it in
later.
the chat.
So okay.
So the current JDBC driver is in is version 3.1.0, but that number hasn't changed in the last couple of releases, even though the underlying code has changed. We're fixing that, but for what's out there today, the way you get it is either from the WTC or it's included in the package. So if you look inside the Docker container, provided you just start it up, you'll find the file in there and you can just pull the file out. And that's the best way to get all of our client libraries at the moment. Again, we're hoping to change all of that over the next 6 to 12 months, but one step at a time.
And we also see the answer that we have the latest version 3.1, as you mentioned, in the WRC. Yeah, and Yuri suggests us to publish it on a MVN repository because Maven is the most.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
It's in work in progress.
Work in progress.
Good suggestion, Yuri. Thank you. So a really good point. Yeah. Also, I can. What I wanted to say about the contest, that who can participate and who cannot. So the answer is everyone can participate except InterSystems employers. So everyone else is very welcome. And Bob, what do you think if I share my screen and maybe try to launch your template, and you will
Please do.
we can comment my my
Sure.
activity. Yeah. So share my screen.
And as you're developing these applications, if you have questions or problems, please do reach out to Evgeny or me. And if you have suggestions for how to make things better, even if they're simple things like, hey, put a JDBC driver into Maven where everyone would think to look for it, send them along. I'm happy to hear that. I want to hear what everyone has to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I find this template on Open Exchange. Then I go download. So click which goes to landing page, and we see that this is a GitHub repository and it's a template, and we can click use this template button and create our own native API solution repository. Create. And in this moment, it just copies the template repository to our own and to let us do the development. So next, what I do, I just clone it and I click this, copy this GitHub thing, and I start a new session on VS Code, new window. I'll go to control version and I put this and put this into GitHub repository, GitHub folder, and clone it there. And then open in this code, and I see Docker Compose. And for me, it automatically is that I can run it. So I do the start, and it runs for me. So it's an error because I have it already started. And in this port, I will just change it to another one and restart. Nice. And then what we have here? We have a lot of 4 folders for .NET, Java, Node.js, and Python. Python is my favorite language, so I will. So what can I do? I need to enter to Docker terminal, and I can do this with, for example, this command. So we have native API solution here. So it's a Docker container, so I'm inside now, and what is the folder inside? Well,
This directory called source, SRC. You should already be in that directory.
Yes. So I'm, yeah, cd src, so Python. And here we have run site, so we can run it. And it works already. So it's open for me to do all the coding, so I can go to this code and see what is going on here, change it, and build my outstanding Python solution using InterSystems Iris native API. And but I cannot participate in the contest. It's all for you. And then of course when I do the changes, I can commit this into very handy. Easy like that. Push, and I have it in my repository on GitHub. Yes, I just receive this commit. Yes, this. Okay, I think right. I think I did everything properly, Bob, right?
Mhm.
So I can
Yeah,
stop
you did
sharing
great.
stop sharing my screen. Stop sharing. And do you have any new questions?
Yes, we have questions from Yuri. InterSystems ARIS supports OData?
I can answer this. InterSystems APIs has gives the opportunity to build to interpret with any framework and library, and it doesn't support OData out of the box, as far as I know. But I think I saw a package on OpenExchange which provides this functionality. So someone did it and submitted to OpenExchange already.
Mhm.
Yuri, is it so? Then this post is about consuming no data as a client consumer. Okay, my question is about an Iris as a maybe Iris as a OData as a server. I'm not sure if it is possible, but maybe you can implement. I give you, Bob. Maybe you have answer for this.
I don't have an answer to that, right? We do not have an OData server at the moment. I've not heard of people asking for one, but that doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't mean that there's not demand, right? Just I haven't heard it yet. And I don't know of anyone who's built one. You would know better than me about what's on OpenExchange, but I can't think of any.
Oh wow! And Yuri suggested this as a topic for the contest. So maybe we will see this as a OData server. Yuri,
That'd be fabulous.
very welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys. I think we're good, and you have 2 weeks, endless 2 weeks, to implement your best solution using InterSystems ARIS and NativeAPI in your favorite language, and win our prizes, glory, and of course the glory of developer with InterSystems ARIS. And I hope this will be a really great contribution to InterSystems community.
Yep.
So have a great week. Thank you, Bob. Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have fun.
And as Bob mentioned, we are with you this whole 2 weeks, and please raise your questions in Discord, on developer community, and submit. Don't forget to submit your solutions. And have a great week. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.